It seems like the kind-hearted thing to do, but deep down somewhere it's like not listening to the oxygen mask requirement on an airplane, that you should always, definitely, as a rule, put your own mask on before you try to help anyone else, including a child or a baby. The idea that the first place that you should go is to a place where you have power to help someone, because you don't always have power to help people. You have a power to provide support for people who are already helping themselves, but you don't have power to help people who aren't looking for help. You can't actually give help to someone like a transferable product. You have to follow the rules of basic safety. If you were on a plane or on a boat, to put on your own life jacket before you can help someone else put their life jacket on, because that is the basics of safety training. That's the basics of following the rules of being on a boat or an airplane and being in a shared vehicle with other people where, due to accident, one or more lives may be at risk. When there's external factors that may need to be taken into account for doing this thing where you want to get to another place with a whole lot of people, but that's always dangerous because people are unpredictable, weather is unpredictable, and machines are human made. Sometimes we don't know if everything is going to be all right. Sometimes things change, factory guidelines change, times change, currents change, weather changes. All of these things important in guiding the decision making of whoever is running these operations and whoever is allowing these operations to be run. So it's just like that when you go out into the world and you put the people who are in line with you, you put them in front of you in your mind, as well as the way you hold yourself in line. You hold yourself in a way that is completely self-effaced, but to the point of detriment, to the point where you're too effaced to be standing. You're too effaced to be standing within your own, and now you are allowing people to walk over you, a doormat, allowing yourself to be walked over, allowing your own needs to be silenced, and not in the way that is healthy. Repression in some capacity is healthy if you are able to repress without suppressing your emotional needs, desires, your physical needs and desires. Some level of repression would make you appear to be the stoic figure. That would be the essence of stoicism, is being able to repress somewhat without completely putting the light out. So it would be like dimming a light or putting a glass bell jar over the light, but carefully so that the light doesn't go out and it can still emit a soft glowing light like you see in a restaurant, but without putting it out. So that's the difference between repressing and suppressing, is that then the first one you can dampen slightly without extinguishing. And if you can do that, then you'll never be a doormat. And even if someone were to try to get you or get your goat by calling you a doormat, they wouldn't be able to, because you already are aware, now that you've tested it, tried and true for yourself, that this is the way to have your energy and to control the level of your energy without extinguishing it entirely or without putting yourself out entirely. So how do you be kind and open and nice and supportive? How do you be compassionate without letting people walk over you? And it's not as easy as it sounds. It's not as easy as it sounds to let people see your light. without going out. It takes being stoic. It takes being sturdy, in other words. If you're sturdy like a wooden plank, then you can both be a seat. You could be set on two rolling logs, and you could be sat on if you're sitting at the point of balance. There's a point of balance on any object, no matter what. That's why, some people can balance a ball on the tip of their finger, and they look like a star. They look like they're a pro, whatever that sport is. And to us, like, oh, I can't do that, okay? Like, there's a point of balance even to something that is completely spherical, and some people can find it. And yes, it is easier to maintain a point of balance that is already moving. If it's already moving, then you can keep it at the tip, and you can control where it goes, where the gravity pulls. Gravity wants to pull it all down. Just like what goes up must come down, but what goes down doesn't necessarily want to come up. And that's why you have to learn how to be compassionate without being overly passionate, without being overly submissive to your surroundings, to the people who are higher ups in your environment, like at work, or even familially in friend groups. To go further with that, you want to be able to support yourself, but it's more like leaning against a tree than it is like leaning against nothing, like having to stand all alone. That's why you have two legs. One leg usually bears more of the weight than the other leg. And that's how we stand. We had to learn to stand. You probably don't remember that because you were like 8 months old. You start learning to walk. And when you're learning to walk, of course, you fall down a lot at first. First, you have to learn to crawl. Before that, there's a stage of crawling and holding yourself up on your arms, your elbows, your knees, being able to move without falling over. And then you progress to standing for the first time by yourself without holding mom and dad's hands. You have to do the same thing when it comes to becoming self-supporting, becoming aware of your inner compassion and your inner needs without trampling all over other people and your people, because that's what it will be if it's unlearned. And sadly, it can go on till you are in your late adulthood. It could go on for a long time. You might not even notice that you have not been taking care of your inner needs the way you knew you should have at the back of your mind, that you were leaning too much on someone or something else that exists outside of yourself, and not leaning on your own legs, your own two legs, standing on your own two legs, leaning not on understanding on God or the universe or your inner knowing, your higher angels, your higher self, not leaning on that higher energy, which you knew could bring down from heaven or whatever higher vibrational fields you believe in, bring it down from all there and into the earthly manifestation where you can physically touch it and see it and interact with it and have it prove itself to be something greater when you are in cohesion with the plan, with the requirements, with the rules. And I see it a lot. It's the first thing to be swept under the carpet when socially the mass mind is trying to find itself, when it gets lost and confused onto the ways of extraneous social rules or extraneous societies. So let me explain that. What I want to say is that society in itself refers to the human-made realm of interactions and rules and disciplines and things that were just agreed upon that we won't do, like if we're waiting in line at the store, we probably won't try saying, "Hi, hello, peace be with you," to the other people in line, because that'd be really weird. Like, we're just waiting in line, at the donut shop or something, and we're just waiting. So we've all agreed that we'll be relatively low key, so that, we can just do our things without getting in each other's business and go about our day. Maybe it's like a morning thing and nobody really wants to be spieled upon with someone else's business 8 a.m. before they go to work. So socially agreed upon rules. But then there's like the more extraneous rules. Like, so what do you do when you're at the beach? Does everybody like be quiet and not start a bonfire? Does everybody yell and scream and splash in the water? Does everybody learn to surf? No, it's kind of relaxed here. So we've agreed, the rule is that we've agreed to like be more relaxed about how we treat each other here, because it's more of a free space. It's really big and wide. It's very fresh, and there's water, there's clean. So we've agreed to be more low key, and that's the edge. So that's where the rules are more fluid. And in the lines at the cafe, like, the rules are a little more rigid because we're all in a small space. So it makes sense that, we all got our little smells and things. Nobody wants to get too close and things. But then at the beach, you might even start making friends, and you might even, talk to some people at a campfire and before you go off and do your thing or something. And that's your proof that even in society, there are areas where the rules are thin. So the problem is when something gets so popular that everything that we've agreed upon in terms of governance, in terms of culture like music and theater, in terms of clothing, something pops and there's a great and it fizzes out. It's like a great fizzing out. Something pops and we're on to the next step in the cycle, which is infinite, because we have a lot of things to work with. We've got a really big field. We've got the sky, we've got the land, we've got the ocean, we've got everything we've built in human intelligence. We've got all of the tools that we've made that we can look at into the nature, with better views. We can study. We have all of this to work with. We have society that we've built. We have the libraries, we have the hospitals, we have the security departments, we have the malls, we have the restaurants, all of human intelligence, the scientist developments, and other tools that we can look into the animal world, we can look into the deep sea, we can look out into outer space. There's all of this to contend with. So it doesn't really pop and destroy. It pops and fades into the other side. And that's why you see so much infinity signs and people loving to wear infinity symbols. I saw that become really popular. Like, it becomes really popular every 20 years or so maybe, but I saw it was really popular in like 2015 or something. Infinity symbol, or a juggler's act, the act of balance. Here, there's a key word I was trying to talk about again. It's balance. So nothing really disappears for good. Things will go back to the other side eventually, and things don't really change. They shift, and you have to see them on the other side. You have to see them through the looking glass and see that you're just at a different angle now. But the circle doesn't break. As long as you don't break it, you don't break this cycle. This is a good cycle. This is proof of fertility and proof of ongoingness and connectedness to the all that is. And if you don't follow the rules that keep it in balance through motion, continuing to keep moving despite having a conflict, a personal conflict, continuing to keep moving and processing in whatever way you can but processing. That is how you stay atop of the cycle and you don't get swept under when it comes.